Derek had been working the night shift at the old office building for a few months now. It was a quiet gig, just keeping an eye on security cameras and making rounds through the empty floors. The building had once been a bustling corporate hub, but now, after hours, it felt like a forgotten relic. Most of the floors were deserted, and only a skeleton crew of night workers, like Derek, came in. One night, as Derek was watching the security feeds in the dark, humming, lifeless office, something caught his eye on the monitor. He paused, rewound the footage, and watched closely. There it was again, on the third floor, a dark shape moving down the hallway. No one was supposed to be up there. The third floor had been closed off for renovations for months. Curious and a little unsettled, Derek radioed to see if any workers had stayed late, but there was no answer. He decided to go check it out himself. Grabbing his flashlight, he stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the third floor. As the elevator doors opened, the floor was deathly quiet. The air felt thick, and the distant hum of the building's power system seemed muted. Derek swept his flashlight across the hallway. Nothing. The floor was just as he expected, full of construction materials and half-finished rooms. But that uneasy feeling didn't leave him. As he made his way down the hallway, Derek suddenly heard a soft clatter behind him. He whipped around, pointing his flashlight in the direction of the sound. One of the doors at the far end of the hallway was slowly swinging shut, as if someone had just passed through it. His heart pounded in his chest. Swallowing his fear, Derek approached the door. It led to one of the old conference rooms, long unused. He hesitated for a moment, then pushed it open. Inside, the room was pitch black, save for the beam of his flashlight. The large windows were covered in thick plastic, part of the renovations, and everything was coated in dust. But something was wrong. The room felt occupied. As he swept the flashlight across the room, the beam landed on something that made his blood run cold. In the far corner, barely illuminated by the dim light, a figure stood facing the wall. It was tall, unnaturally tall, its head bowed slightly as if staring at something on the ground. The figure didn't move, didn't breathe. It just stood there, perfectly still. Derek's flashlight flickered, and for a brief second, the figure disappeared in the darkness. When the light came back, it was gone. His breath caught in his throat, and he slowly backed out of the room, never taking his eyes off the corner where the figure had been. He rushed back to the elevator, heart pounding, trying to tell himself it was a trick of the light, maybe a shadow cast by the plastic covering the windows. But as he reached the elevator and pressed the button, something else happened. He felt it before he saw it, a presence, like someone standing just behind him. He dared not turn around, but in the reflection of the polished elevator doors, he saw it, the same tall figure standing just a few feet behind him, still and silent, watching. The elevator doors finally slid open, and Derek bolted inside, jamming the button for the ground floor. The doors closed slowly, too slowly. Just before they shut completely, he saw the figure step toward him, closing the distance with terrifying speed. The elevator descended, and Derek's mind raced, trying to make sense of what he had just seen. When the doors opened on the lobby, he sprinted to the security room, half expecting the figure to be waiting for him at every turn. He quickly rewound the camera footage for the third floor. But when he played it back, there was nothing. No shadow in the hallway, no figure. It was as if the entire thing had never happened. Except for one thing. In the live feed from the security cameras, just outside the third floor conference room, the door was now wide open. And slowly, in the dim glow of the night vision camera, Derek could see the faint outline of someone standing just inside the doorway, waiting.